the top 10 players in my favorite game, Super Mega Baseball 4. I'm going to rank Super Mega and Legend players all in the same list to uncover the true best in the game. It's going to be pretty cutthroat with so few spots available. There's a few different ways this can be gone about, mostly because of the game's chemistry system. I'm going to go off the chem levels each player has on their native roster, thus ranking their skills in the Super Mega and Legend leagues, but I will share an alternate list at the end that goes off all level 2 chem levels, which would probably be more accurate in mimicking an early round draft value for a shuffle draft. Here we have Hurley Bender, the Beewolves S-tier ace. I actually have an in-depth ranking system based purely on players' skills. So for pitchers, their velo, junk, accuracy, their pitch arsenals, and of course, their traits. I also factor their fielding to a minimal degree. It's gotten increasingly convoluted over my years of playing as I dial it in to be more and more accurate. The end result is a single number that attempts to indicate the player's overall value, the same concept as player war. So exactly what this list is about, revealing the overall best players considering their entire game. Hurley scored a 333 on my scale. Randy Johnson scored a 332. Neither of them are going to crack the top 10. Like I said, ferocious competition. Let's get into the chosen few. Coming in at number 10 is another ace pitcher, Elmo Slayer. He's a lefty, but that doesn't matter really at all in this game, unless lefty-righty traits come into play for the hitters. Another important note here is that I'm ranking based on playing against the AI. I personally have a lot of trouble facing the higher velocity guys, but for beating up on the computer, I find overall stuff to be about equally useful, so high junk gets the job done. However, I consider the most important quality for a pitcher to be their accuracy. I find that hitting your spot versus slightly missing is often the difference in an at-bat and even in a game. Elmo has mid-90s accuracy and junk. Top that off with a nasty 5-pitch arsenal, respectable velo, and K collector, which makes his junk and velo even nastier with 2 strikes. Yeah, this guy is a menace. Definitely a top pitcher in the game. Number 10 worthy for sure. Elmo Slayer.
Now batting, the right fielder, number 27, Vladimir Guerrero.
At number 9, we have our first discussion of a position player to make the top 10. It's Vladimir Guerrero. You can safely categorize him as underrated in this game, sporting that A- rating. He has what I consider 2 of the top traits for position players. First of all, bad ball hitter is the best trait in the batter's box, and although it's an impactful trait for any player, I believe it especially useful for power hitters, because it works by reducing the power penalty for swinging outside the zone. So the more power a player has, the more advantage they take from this. Vlad has 83 power, that's pretty solid. It can often make the difference in a ball carrying out of the yard instead of dying at the track or even the grass. Maybe you don't really need it as long as you never swing out of the zone. So yeah, you definitely need it. It affects the edges of the zone too, so it's really good. That and his high contact rating make him an elite threat in the box. Secondly, we're looking at cannon arm. It's the best fielding trait in my opinion, especially as an outfielder. Out and right, his low fielding rating isn't hurting him too much, and his decent speed and killer arm allow him to track a ball down and blast it back to the infield extremely quickly. Thus, he has strong value on both sides of the ball, and especially on offense. Number 8 overall in the game, in the Super Combo League, is the father of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Vladimir Guerrero.
Now batting, the first baseman, number 6, Sakda Song.
At number 8, we have an instance of a player that would actually be better off on a different team. It's the player formerly known as S-tier, Sakda Song. The reason he suffers a bit on the overdogs is that he possesses a very good hitting trait, off-speed hitter, but since the ODs have level 1 discipline, its effectiveness is nerfed to half strength. This influenced his skid from his number 2 ranking in Super Mega 3, but obviously he's still very powerful, even considering his teammates' new temperaments. He has 4 elite tools with glove, speed, and contact, all being in the 90s, and versus righties, which happens about 69% of his at-bats, his power reaches 90 as well. The only real strikes against Sakda are his arm being middle of the road and his position of first base not being the most valuable defensively. If that glove was playing somewhere up the middle instead, he'd easily rise up the list. He is alternatively capable of playing right field, but then his arm is more exposed and his glove skills go more to waste. But his speed does allow for good range out there, so his value is nearly equal. Wherever you play him, you're getting an offensive juggernaut. At number 8 in the game ranks Sakda.
Now batting, the third baseman, number 27, Beefcake McStevens.
Coming in at number 7, we have another corner infielder, platypi third baseman, Beefcake McStevens. In contrast to Sakda, Beefcake is helped by his team's chem makeup, sporting a level 3 high ball hot zone trait, which buffs both his power and contact immensely in the top half of the zone and even above it. Pair this with his super elite contact rating at 96 and his also very high power of 83, matching Vladdy's, but rising higher against lefties to 93 due to his other trait. All this makes him a beast in the box, and that's his best contributing factor. Many of the game's sluggers are plagued with tortoise-like speed, but not Beefcake. 74 is very solid. His defense is just okay with middling numbers of 57 glove and 65 arm. Even though he plays down the more crucial foul line, he's giving ground to Sakda and even Vladdy defensively. But the strong traits help Beefcake edge Sakda out in the overall, and the speed difference helps him push ahead of Guerrero. Enough for him to reach a number 7 rating. Congrats to Mr. McStevens.
Beefcake McStevens.
Coming in at the number 6 spot is Babe Ruth. And you might be thinking, Babe Ruth, what? He's an elite hitter and a great pitcher in the game. How is that not guaranteed number 1 SS tier busted? Or maybe you're not, but let's say that you were. I understand that, okay? Just hear me out. Let's compare him to another busted two-way player we all might be familiar with, Shohei Ohtani. Now, Shohei is the best hitter in the NL. Babe, on the other hand, comes in at a solid 6th overall hitter in this game. His raw rating numbers of 99 power and 96 contact are admittedly pretty crazy, but he simply lacks the hitting traits that can push a guy further in that category. But the bat is definitely the Babe's greatest skill, to no one's surprise. Babe can also play the outfield, leaving the DH slot open, but while his elite arm plays great in the grass, his speed is a detriment there as well as the base paths. I don't need to tell you about Ohtani's speed. Pitching would be the terrifying Titans' second greatest talent, and while Babe is surely no slouch on the mound, there's a lot of great pitchers in the league, and he ends up ranking in a 3-way tie for 75th on the bump. So Shohei surely has him pretty crushed there too, leaving plenty of room for the possibility that Babe, while being highly valuable, doesn't quite dominate to the same level. Another fun thing about Babe, besides being a two-way player, is his volatile trait, which makes it 25% easier for his mojo to change, both up and down. You might think, well, it goes both ways, so that's a break-even trait. But since it's on such a strong hitter and he even pitches, he can get a lot out of it because he can heat up in either role, which he's more likely to get hot than cold since he's so good, and then reap the benefits in both spots. Overall, I've got his position player value set at 227 and his pitcher value at 133, totaling 360 and securing him a number 6 ranking, which is a great feat in its own right. So that's where we'll set the Sultan of SWAT for our rankings.
Number 19, Jose Bautista.
Starting off the top 5 with a banger, it's the very legendary Jose Bautista. We all love him for his top-level bat flips and scowling expressions. His value is exceedingly high. I mean, he's dang near a 5-tool player. Perhaps that speed is slightly low to give it to him, but he's a killer. Of his many skills, the most valuable is his power. It's nasty at 94 rating to go with 84 contact baseline, and then you add to it probably the best power boosting trait in power versus righties that pushes him beyond the natural limit of 99 more often than not. It's kind of unique that he has power versus righties as a righty himself, but that's the case. And his clutch trait on top of it, which along with having decently high conceptual value is just fun to have. Whenever he steps in with the game on the line and that clutch trait glowing, it adds even more to the feeling of adrenaline. His offensive rating is 6th best in the game, but he pairs it with high value on defense as well. He doesn't play the most premier positions, but he does give you options, with his skill set being equally competent to station at either right field or the hot corner. His glove takes a penalty at third, but since it's a more important spot and that 99 arm can shine, the value is nearly identical. While in right field, he makes a bit less use of the arm, but his decent mobility becomes more active with all that ground to cover. So, good defensive contribution, elite offensive contribution. That's a recipe for a top player, and that's your number 5 player. Jose Bautista.
Number 90, Hammer Longballo.
We're getting down to the wire here, and number 4 will initiate the appearance of the league's signature player and one of the game's cover athletes. It's Hammer Longballo. He's actually a very close comparison to Bautista. Hammer 2 has a wildly good bat, but Hammer's power is maxed out at 99, and like Jose before him, he has the trait power versus righties, but his is at level 3. How's 119 power sound? Put that alongside his fastball hitting trait, 129 power, and his 78 contact being lower than some other premier hitters pretty much ceases to matter at all. He's the 3rd best overall hitter in the game, only trailing his cover companion, Big Papi David Ortiz, and the legendary Henry Aaron. However, those two are lackluster on the base paths, and their defense isn't as strong either, so Hammer is the best hitter to crack the top 10. His peripheral skills are fine, though Jose beats him in this regard. He has admirable speed for a slugger and a respectable arm out in right field. You wouldn't even be that crazy to try to slot him at center field in a pinch. I'm excited for Hammer's resurgence after having assigned him 7th in my Super Mega 3 rankings. The boost in traits really elevated him. At a well-deserved 4th overall is Hammer Longballo.
Gasser Morris. Batting, the center fielder, number 4, Jackie Slam. Now batting, the shortstop, number 12, Jock Sports.
We have no 3rd place finisher because, in the twist of the century, we have a tie for 2nd place between 2 teammates. Jackie Slam and Jock Sports are both so elite, neither could edge out the other, and both scored a 382 rating in my system. Although they share a 98 contact rating and Jock has the higher power at 89, making him a baseline beast, no traits necessary, Jackie is the superior hitter because she has 2 of the top 3 hitting traits. On her team, she is suffering from RBI Girl being nerfed, but she more than makes up for it with Ace Exterminator being at level 3. Although I question the realisticness of a trait that makes you better against good pitching, I don't question its value. It provides so much power, 40 and 10 contact. This allows her power to climb to the same 129 that Hammer Longballo can reach when she has RBI Girl active at the same time. There's a lot of A-rated pitchers in the game. It's about 35% of them, so it's very nice to have this trait. If you're an ace-tier pitcher, this is who you should fear the most. Meanwhile, Jock is of course an elite contributor in the lefty batter's box as well, but he outshines Jackie on defense. Jock plays the most crucial shortstop position, and he plays it better than almost anyone, Ozzie Smith being the lone exception. Aside from his extremely gifted 93 rated glove, he achieves this with the cannon arm trait, allowing him to zip balls across the diamond at record speeds, beating out would-be infield hits and making him a web gem machine. He is frequently able to dive to his right and stand up and throw the runner out. Regular players cannot do this. Neither of the two light up the base paths, but they have solid speed, 57 and 68. Jackie's being a little better, which serves her well out in center field, where she plays plus defense, although not exceptional like her teammates. These two are quite the dynamic duo, and they share a tie for the second place ranking, all due to my scientific, unbiased system. Who would have thought? Congrats to Nemesis teammates Jackie Slam and Jock Sports. Alright, time for our number one player. Why not sub and like if you're enjoying the video? You know, that would be cool of you to do that. Okay, time to reveal the best player in the league.
Yeah, here we go!
Bert Blyleven. Yes, exactly. There's 5 S-tier pitchers in the game. I chose a pitcher as my number one player and passed on Jovita Pulo, Alicia Woodrow, Randy Johnson, Hurley Bender, and even number 10 ranked Elmo Slayer. Instead, it's Bert Blyleven. I don't know if I'm going to have to win you guys over on this one, but just in case, I'll try. Yes, his velocity and overall stuff isn't as high as other pitchers, but it's pretty good. 62 velo, 73 junk, and he has 2 other very important things going for him. The first is simply that his accuracy is very high at 93. I told you all before that accuracy is the most important thing in a pitcher in this game. But the main thing that makes him busted is, of course, reverse splits. It's the best trait in the game for pitchers, and honestly, for everyone. And when he plays for the Thrillers, it's at level 3. Opposing lefties and also switch hitters are nerfed 20 power and 30 contact. That comes out to over half of the starting hitters in the league, about 53%. This can take a powerhouse offense like the Nemesis and turn them into the grapplers. I hate to imagine what it can turn the grapplers into. By the way, he also has an elite curveball. If I haven't won you over with my strong logic and imaginative arguing, perhaps my anecdotal statistics will sway your perspective. In a 16-game season I played in December 2024, Bert pitched 40 innings. That's a ton of innings if you don't know. That's more than 4 complete 9-inning games, and typically 16 games only allows for 4 times through the rotation, so he was working overtime. He kept his ERA at around 2, and his whip was .77. Have you ever seen a whip under 1 in this game? Because I don't think I have. Look at his average against. It's .212. This was at 95 ego. I think he deserves number 1 overall, so I'm giving it to him. In the past, I never would have considered a pitcher for the top spot, but Bert broke me. I have to. At number 1, it's Bert Blyleven. Of course, this was largely due to his level 3 trait, and trait levels played a factor throughout the list, so if you would like to see what differences there are if we just assume level 2 traits only, I have that too. I'm a fountain of information. Here you go. Bert Blyleven is off the list now. Jackie has dropped down. Jock Sports has taken the number 1 slot. Hammer has slid down a bit. Beefcake, gone. Sakda moved up. And Hack Liner, the former number 1 in SMB3, manages a top 10 appearance. The other new addition is Blammo Tamale, all the way up in number 2. He wasn't eligible for the first list since he's a free agent in the game and not on any team, but with neutral traits, we're probably ranking for a drafting format, so I popped him in there. There's your top 10 players in Super Mega 4. The legends are here. Top 10 list official. Thanks for your views and all your interactions. Do you want another video? Tell me about it. Also, tell me who you think deserves this list and why. Okay, that's all. Bye.